Hi, my name is Joseph Sanders, student at Thomas Edison State College. This video is for Module 3, Lab 3 of Microcontrollers class. The topic here is assembly language programming using the MPLAB simulation software. So what our task is today is to write an assembler program that will basically take a series of numbers, 20 hex numbers, 23, 25, 27, 29, that pattern all the way through to hex 63. It's going to take those numbers and it's going to put them in specific address locations. And it's going to start out with address location 20, then move to 21, 22, all the way to address location 40. So the first step would be to write number 23 in address location 20, and then number 25 in address location 21, and so forth and so on. The second part of this is I'm supposed to take all those series of numbers, add them together, and put the results of that addition into address location 4E and address location 4F. So that's what we're going to endeavor to do, and I'm going to show you in the programming. We're going to step it through one step at a time. I built in a couple of stops, as you'll see here in a second, and we're going to see the numbers, the information actually populate into these address locations. So we can see what's going on here. All right. All right, so we're going to have to do a little bit of zooming in here. Camera gets shaky, I do apologize. Hopefully we can get this zoomed in properly. Okay. So here we are at the start of our program. And as you can see in the file register, I've already got address location set up here. So you can see starting out at address location 20. And of course we have no data yet because I haven't processed the program yet. Okay, so we're just going to take a quick look at the program and then we'll get this show on the road. Okay, as you can see at the beginning of the program, what we're going to do obviously is initialize the pointer, and then we're going to get the first number, which in this particular program, our first number we want is hex 23. We're going to write that number to the data memory address, and we're going to save the first number for temporary use. And then this is where we're going to start our loop process. Okay, so what we do is we get that number that was saved. We're going to move the pointer FSR to the next data memory location, and as you can see here, it's adding 2. So what that means is our data memory location has stored 23. Well, we're going to increment that every time we come through this loop. We're going to increment by 2, which is what was called for in the instructions. So we start with 23. Okay, then we're going to increment to plus 2, which is 25. Next time around, it'll be 27. Next time around, it'll be 29, and so forth and so on. All right. I mean, it's self-explanatory. Well, it just basically loops through, and it'll check and see what the last number was, and it'll add 2. Meanwhile, it's saving that information into the appropriate data location. Okay, as you can see there, right here, let me get my finger over there. This right here is basically checking to see if the data memory location that it's storing it to is 40. The reason why is we're stopping at address location 40. We don't want to go beyond that. We don't want this loop to continue indefinitely. We want to stop at address location 40. It will continue through this loop until it detects that it has reached address location 40. At which point it'll continue on to the next section, which is actually the section where it will end up adding all the numbers we've processed so far, and then it will move whatever that addition is, and move it and save that to data memory addresses 4E and 4F. Okay, so this is loop 2. Here what we're doing basically is just clearing out 4E and 4F. Okay, so that away we're starting with clean data. And also here it's initializing the FSR pointer to address location 20, which is the first number that was stored in our series of numbers that we're wanting to add. Alright, so at this point it's going to get the number that was pointed to, which is address location 20. Alright, and then it's going to add that number to the load by. Basically it's just going to go through this loop. It's going to add the numbers, okay, in each data memory location. Alright, and once it gets done with that, it's going to display the results in 4E and 4F. But it's got to go through and it's got to do the addition of all those numbers first. And again, I put in 2 stops there so we can see that, but okay. Let's go ahead and step this through, and let's pay attention to these locations here, because you should start seeing data populate up here as we step through this. And of course it should be in the sequence of 23, 25, 27, 29, so forth and so on. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this. So I'm stepping through. Okay, as you can see, we've reached the point where we've got our first number in there, 23, at address location 20. So next should be 25 at address location 21. So let's just step this through. And there you go. And now it's checking to see, have we reached address location 40? No, we have not reached address location 40. So we're going to go back to loop and start that process over again. And there's hex 27 address location 22. And it's checking, have we reached address location 40? Obviously, no, we haven't. Okay, so let's just step this through until we get to address location 40. And as you can see, as I step this through, it's populating all the correct information. I've done my hand calculations, and so far that seems right. We can double check that when we're done, but we want to just get through address location 40. Scroll this down a bit so we can see. Takes a little bit to manually step this through, but okay, so as you can see, it just populated information into address location 3F with 61, which is the correct information. Okay, so now we're going to come through here. It did not reach address location 40, so it's going to go back to the loop. So it's going to go through that process again. It's going to put the next series of numbers in address location 40, and this time it's going to check and see, have I reached address location 40? And it should have, which it did. So as you can see, as soon as I advanced and it populated the information, address location 40, it went out of the loop and went to my first stop point. Okay? So at this point, it's going to go ahead and we can continue on through this. And it's going to go down to the next section of the program where it's going to clear out address location 4E and 4F. Okay. And then it's going to start loop 2. Alright. So this is the point where it's got to start adding these numbers together. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and let it start that process. I should have had that down there for you. But as you can see in address location 4F, I've already cycled through a couple of times. It's added 23 and 25 together. Let's just make sure that that's right. If you add 23 and 25 in hex, then you get 48 hex, which is what is in address location 4F. Okay. Alright, so if you add 27, you should get 6F. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to step this through. 4F should populate with 6F. And there it is. So as you can see, it is working the way it's supposed to. And it's going to continue through that process, adding those numbers every single time until it gets all the numbers added together to populate in here, okay? And just for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and come up here, and we're going to run this thing so it can just be done. Alright, so as you can see here, once I just made it go all the way through, it has populated 08 in address location 4E and A3 in address location 4F, which is actually what we were looking to have. So in a nutshell, there you go, you have it. The program was a success, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you very much.